we almost died. When it comes to hunting, I figured I would die because maybe a vehicle we were driving got stuck. But turns out we've gotten lots of trucks stuck and didn't come anywhere close to dying. It was merely an inconvenience, a waste of time. I thought maybe it would be during an elk hunt where I was too far back, I got lost, somehow was injured and wasn't able to make it back out. Maybe I get attacked by a bear and it incapacitates me and I end up dying that way. Or maybe I simply freeze to death because it's 3 degrees out and I start getting a little sleepy and it's lights out. I've experienced something similar to that. We were hiking a 14,000 foot mountain in January and decided to take a little nap on the side of the hill on the way down. Probably not a good idea. But I recently purchased one of these. This is a Garmin InReach Mini. Let me tell you why I purchased it. It was December 31st. Me and my friend Adam and my dog Oakley went for a pheasant hunt. Seems like a reasonably safe thing to do. Well, unfortunately, the weather wasn't cooperating. It was windy. It was about 10 degrees Fahrenheit out. I'd filled my truck up in the morning. We'd driven to northeast Colorado. We were hunting walk-in access fields. And from the time we got off the freeway, we'd covered about 150 miles until we reached the last field. Well, it was just a cold, nasty day. There were some flurries all day long. But the last field we were in, finally we found some pheasant. It was in a uncut milo field, but the wind was blowing so hard that the birds were flushing early and we really didn't have a chance at them. Well, it's finally time to go home. Hop in the truck, blast down the road, and we're finally on a paved road. Well, pretty soon the fuel filter light comes on. I don't think anything of it. I've experienced it before and it wasn't a problem. But now the truck started running rough. So I switched tanks to my back tank. It starts running smooth for a few seconds and then it starts running rough again. Keeps running rougher. Finally quits entirely and we have to end up pulling over to the side of the road. So now the situation is it's getting dark. It's actually snowing now. It's less than 10 degrees outside, heavy winds, and we're on the middle of a road in the middle of nowhere. Here was the problem. The truck's dead. My cell phone wasn't working. Now, my friend's was, but mine was not. In aviation, we talk about a Swiss cheese model. These different issues aligning to create an accident. Well, we came awful close to having a big issue that day. If we had been on any of the other roads we'd been on that day, roads that probably don't see a truck in a week, we would have been in a real pickle. The other problem would have been, what if my friend Adam's cell phone hadn't been working either, which we had been in places that day too where neither of our cell phones were working. What would have happened if those things aligned? We would have been looking at spending the night in the truck in 10-degree weather. Now, I was reasonably dressed, long johns, jeans, insulated bib overalls. It was cold out and we were prepared for that. My dog Oakley, he had a jacket on, we had an extra blanket in the truck, and we had some food. So we probably could have made it through the night. It would have been a cold night, and what really could have messed us up is if we had decided to go find help if we were further out. We were on a paved road, a couple of vehicles passed us by and asked if we needed help. What we did was we were able to call a tow truck on my friend's phone, and we waited there about an hour. In the meantime, it's starting to get dark, it's very cold, the windows are frosting up, and it all reminded me of things that my grandmother had told me, keep an alcohol or a bottle of alcohol to sort of make a rudimentary stove in the car, extra blankets, all these things. They start rushing back to me, and I'd kind of dismissed that because I figured I have a warm vehicle to be in. Why would I need any of that stuff? Well, that's all well and good until the truck quits. So I take some responsibility for what happened. I'd filled the truck up that day with diesel at a station selling winterized diesel. Well, that didn't help me much. And so now I treat every tank that I put in that truck. I have some emergency treatment in case things get bad. And I have a strategy now where I would immediately stop the truck if that fuel filter light came on. And that'll warm the bowl, just letting it idle because it sits down in the V of the engine. So after that experience, after my buddy saying that he didn't want to be a case study, I decided it's time for me to buy one of these satellite communicator devices for hunting, camping, pheasant hunting that I can just have in my pack all the time and keep me safe. So this is what I bought. It's a Garmin InReach Mini. I currently pay $14.95 a month. I'm on a month-to-month plan. There are annual plans. I ended up going with the cheapest plan I could so that I can simply just leave this always activated. If I had to determine month to month whether I wanted to keep it active or not, I know there'd be times where I'd want to use it, but it wasn't active. The safest, best utilization for this is it to always be active, put it in my pack, I can use it whenever I need it. This is small. If you are one of those titanium sport kind of people, you might consider the weight of it, but realistically, this is a lot of insurance policy for the money and for the weight. This costs about $350. I got a slight discount through work because we're a Garmin dealer. So what this does is it connects via Bluetooth to your cell phone, and then from your cell phone you can type out messages and send them off via satellite through this device. And it also has an SOS button in case you're so incapacitated that all you got to do is press that button and help will be on the way. Here's the downside of this. This has a terrible interface. It really does. Think about how cobbled together the system is. This started out life as a DeLorme device. Now it's a Garmin device. It's communicating on the Iridium satellite network via Bluetooth to my phone through an app called EarthMate. It's terrible. Really, it reminds me of the early days of cell phones. Remember those old Nokia phones? This is really what it feels like. However, it does work. I'll probably get better at using it, but it's better than a lot of the other options on the market right now. So here's 3 things that this device can help you with, whether you hunt, fish, camp, hike, any of those things, mountain climb. It's about safety. You can, with minimal effort, get help on the way to you, and they will know exactly where you're at. And you can even follow that up with information about your condition, your party's condition, where you are at. So this greatly improves safety. It certainly makes my wife feel better about where I'm hunting. When my wife heard the story that I just relayed to you about my truck dying while pheasant hunting, of all things, she thought I was hundreds of miles from where we actually were. She thought I was in one town, and that might have been where we started, but we'd traveled a long ways in the process of that hunt. So they would have been looking in totally the wrong spot for us. What this will also allow you to do is hunt harder for longer. You can get deeper in the woods without worrying about the practicality of getting yourself out when something bad happens. And then the third thing, and something that I've had to relax my own thoughts about, is this allows you to communicate with home or the office or even our cell phones. We can communicate more and more. There's more service in some of the places we hunt. And if that allows you to be in the field longer, who am I to judge you using that sort of technology to communicate with your friends, family, the office? If it allows you to hunt longer, so be it. Good for you. So here's what I recommend. Pick up a Garmin InReach. This is the mini version. There's also a larger version that'll do navigating for you. Use my link below if you would. It'll help me out. And please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and you've been listening to the Sideburn Hunter.